Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, June 7th, and this is virtual lunch number 1032. Our guest today is Andrew Hutchinson, the CEO of Databall, and this is part of our series on disrupting CRM with Tree. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited that you're here and I'm really enjoying this series and looking forward to speaking about it. Would be great for you to just tell us a little bit about your background and also, of course, the genesis of Databall.
Would love to. So I think there are people on this call who've probably been in this market longer than I have, but I have amassed 2 decades in legal technology, and I started accidentally, as I think most people did. Well, not always, but a lot of people did. And I started working with a company called Visual Files in the UK, and we did case management systems for high volume, low value areas of law. So things like residential property, personal injury, debt collection, those sorts of things. And we got acquired by Lexus, and then the sort of journey continued. And I say to most people that I've touched pretty much all of what I would refer to as the tier one technologies that exist in a law firm. So finance, CRM, document management, business process, all of those sorts of technologies, intake conflicts. And so I've touched all of those in my career. More recently, so the sort of second half of my career has been very focused into the marketing and business development area of law firms. So I was employee number 5 at one place, which was the first CRM for legal built on Salesforce. We got acquired by Intapp. I spent 2 years at Intapp and then rolled out to create Databall. And whilst doing that, I also weirdly ended up working for a company that was doing online dispute resolution. And so that gave me another sort of interesting perspective on legal. And so I think over this last 10 years, obviously the goal as a provider of CRM is how do we change history? So everybody knows that for decades, law firms have had CRM systems, and really they had been shelfware in a lot of cases. That's maybe a little disrespectful because certainly the marketing departments used them very heavily, but in terms of the broader firm, really not adopted, not leveraged by the partners at all. Because one of the challenges with CRM systems is, well, what are they? CRM systems basically is a data repository of information about your contacts and, in theory, about the pitches that you work on, right? So if you think about Salesforce and Dynamics and HubSpot and all those sort of corporate-centric CRM systems, they hold a lot of data. They have a lot of features and functions that is designed to support the everyday working of the users, because it's built for marketeers and salespeople. And if you're a salesperson, in theory, you should live and die in your CRM system, right? Everything you do ties to something that sits in there. If I think about where we are today, we have great modern technology, right? We have more data that we can present in this great modern technology that is even more overwhelming than CRM was 10 years ago. This is probably the first time in my entire career where I have diligently used a CRM system. Why? Because it's absolutely to my advantage. Because as the person that runs the company, I need to know what's going on. I need to know where all that information is. As a salesperson, I'm just juggling the information I have at any moment in time. I've probably got 10 deals that are really aggressively in flight, and then I've got however many that fall behind that, right? So it's much easier for me to mentally keep on top of all those things.
I've had the conversation many times with law firms about sharing content that started back in the GWABIT days. So these are big firms that have CRMs in place, and the purpose of GWABIT, and Tree to a large extent is a superset of GWABIT, but the purpose of GWABIT was to capture contact information from email signatures and then use that to source new and updated content to the CRM. And firms would ask about, well, how do lawyers feel about sharing data? We don't know if they're going to be comfortable with that. Well, setting aside the fact that, okay, you already have a CRM. So that notwithstanding, I would ask them the question, are you a law firm or are you a lawyer hotel? And I think that you have to answer that question before you can move on to whether or not you should even think about a CRM.
It's a really, I mean, there are so many interesting responses to your comments, Monica. I remember when I first joined one place, and bear in mind, I've been a salesperson my entire life, and I have lived and died on sales calls and CRM updates and pipeline reviews and all that sort of stuff. And I remember one of the first meetings I had, I said to the CMO, how often does the CFO look at your pipeline? Well, I mean, firstly, the thought that there was a pipeline, and secondly, the thought that that got factored into financial considerations was, at the time, I realized just how much of a joke it was, right? Because CRM in law firms is not used in the way that CRM in the rest of the world is utilized. It really is, to Todd's point, it is a mechanism for managing contacts and then making sure that you market to them appropriately. I think one of the other things I would say, Monica, in terms of some of your points, absolutely, the information, right, is critical. But again, one of the things that I find is that they don't go look. No disrespect to the partners in the firm, it is a function of time for the most part, and also a function of it's actually really not that simple. I think personally, in the context of using data to inform how you acquire, retain clients, and deliver great service, we are at a pivotal moment. Because exactly to your point, what if I had a chatbot sat on top of all of that data and I just went, hey, find me your witnesses, or even better, just talk at your phone and say, hey, I've just come out of a meeting and I need to find a witness, or I need to find some experience that blah, 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 right? Just brain dump. And the technology is now smart enough to pull out the key pieces of information from what you've just described, deliver you something back, and then allow you to have a conversation with it.
Something that you said, going back to, I think, the first half of your question, which regards the data quality and adoption. So regarding the data quality, if you don't have good data, then what's the point, right? So I talk about buying a 24-karat gold bucket and filling it with something that you don't want to drink, right? And so that is our fundamental mission, coming up with good content. That's the piece that we use the AI for, and then enabling you to do stuff with that data. But to the other part of it, the adoption question, I think one of the fundamental problems with CRM is that they're in two entirely different audiences that really don't have much to do with each other. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, what do these very expensive CRM system solutions get used for right now? Well, they're used for list management by MBD people, fundamentally. And you talk about, well, how can we make the attorneys use them? Well, there are hundreds of millions of dollars and decades of evidence that show that they don't use it. And so I think that in addition to getting the data right, and lots of data right, and then how do you approach those people? How's the best way to interface with those people in order to get them to use the data? And something that has really intrigued me about, not just intrigued, I am excited about what Andrew is doing, is I've always believed that how you have to do it in a passive way. So attorneys I don't believe by and large will reach for the CRM. That's not going to happen. And so we keep trying to train them, and they're just not going to do it. But I think that if you can reach out to an attorney and say, hey, based on everything that we have, the entire data lake, ocean, whatever aquatic thing it is, we've gone through that, we've swum through the water, and we've identified this opportunity. This is why we believe it's an opportunity based on everything that we've seen. And we believe that you are the perfect person in the entire law firm to talk to this person over here at this prospective client and talk about this opportunity. Click here and send them an email, a text, or whatever, and say this. And I mean, that's the stuff that makes me super excited, not just being able to navigate the data problem, but also just being passive about it, as opposed to forcing the attorney to actually do something.
Well, I think just to add to that, Todd, it's what are people doing currently, right? Connecting Power BI to the CRM system, or they're connecting it to a data lake, or and they're generating lots of dashboards that are then again being put in front of an attorney. The challenge for a partner is, how do I know of all the things I could do, what should I do? And so one of the things that Databall considers is, of all the things that you as a partner could do, what's the thing that you should do if you only did one thing? or if you did 2 things or 3 things, right? Of all the things that you could do.
All right, Andrew Hutchinson, everybody. Well done. Thank you so much, Andrew, for joining us. Thanks
My pleasure.
to Tree and Todd Miller for supporting this series on disrupting CRM. And wow, fun conversation. Really excited about it. I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.